Ireland in 2012. I met my wife and we married up in Seattle, and then we moved to San Diego in 2016. Right before I moved to San Diego, I knew I needed something more than music to help provide for my family. I also knew that at this point in my life, I was around 25. Um, I didn't want to pursue a career that was going to pull me away from my family if I were to succeed. I knew that would occur. If I was to succeed in music, I'd be on the road. I'd miss my kids, everything. I'd miss it all. I didn't want that. Fortunately, I was introduced to Bobby by a district manager up in Seattle. And I'm not going to lie to you, I didn't have a clue what I was actually signing up for. I didn't know I was becoming an agency owner. I didn't know that. I kind of didn't really read the small print. I just thought I was going to be some insurance agent working for some company. I didn't really fully understand. No, you're going to own your agency. You're going to be able to do with it as you please. Just make sure you stay within farmers guidelines. And so the first year, I sort of just didn't really know what I was doing. And I made quite a difficult transition, not just in a business sense, but in a personal sense. Um, I had always associated, my ego was attached to the idea of being this musician, this recording artist. Now I had to go make cold calls to people who were more than happy to hang up the phone on me before I could even introduce myself. It definitely was a shock to the system. Um, if I can offer some tips that have sort of helped me get to where I am, I shadowed who I thought was the best in my group. I knew that I needed to learn from the best if I wanted to be competing with the best. And so it's not like I had this skill or luck of the Irish, as I know Frank likes to call it. It really isn't that. I knew how to climb towards success because while I was a musician, I was actually also an Uber driver. And in between picking up passengers, what I was actually doing is I was listening to audiobooks from the likes of Zig Ziglar, Brian Tracy. I was listening to so much Les Brown, like him or love him, Tony Robbins, um, or sorry, love or hate him. I know some people don't like him, but all of that stuff, what I was doing is basically just, I was in a position in life where I needed that. I don't think you always need it. I think it can help to sort of kickstart and push you to a position where, okay, you've got momentum, you're rolling. But definitely there was a time in my life where I needed all of that, positive, motivational type stuff. It really, really helped. It helped get me through the dark days. But what it did is it helped me to learn how to look for success. And one of the things I learned was just go straight up to the person who's doing the best and shadow them. Sacrifice your time to learn from them, right? So I did that. I shadowed who I thought was the best salesperson in our group. He had 15 years of sales experience, which was pretty lucky for me that he joined at the same time. So I would go to his house, we'd hang out at the office, I'd listen to him make his phone calls, and I feel like I pretty much just absorbed everything that he would do. And that's how I was able to get to the point where I was like, okay, now I know what I'm doing. Um, I don't say this to brag, but I just say it in a sense that you can come from any type of background, I truly believe. And as long as you have the right attitude, as long as you stay focused, you keep looking at the opportunity that this is instead of the difficulties. I've climbed from, in the past 4.5 years, it was 2016, the summer, August, September is when I started. But I didn't officially become an agent until December 2016. We're close to 3,000 policies in force. Um, we're in the top 5% of all agencies in the entire nation. We're in the top 1% of the entire state of California. That's out of 3,200 plus agencies. These are all things that we've achieved, not because we have some luck, but because our attitude remains a positive, optimistic attitude. I always see the opportunity. There will be agents that will complain about farmers' rates. I can tell you those guys are probably in the bottom 10%. If you ever find yourself complaining about rates, stop it immediately, because that is a slippery slope and that is the beginning of the end. That is when you start to just see the shade instead of the light. Never complain about rates, because if you are, it just means you're not writing enough business. Never complain about not having enough leads, because if you are, it means you're not doing anything to get more leads, okay? It's not that our business insurance policy is no good. It's because you need to market to enough businesses and to enough of the right businesses. There are agents who are writing $2 million in premium, $3 million, $4 million, $5 million a year. They have the same options as you do. So if ever you find yourself thinking negatively, farmers expensive, look at their production. All right. You don't need sales experience. You don't need insurance experience. You just need to have a good attitude. So whatever it is that it takes for you to just work on that, right? Bobby, I think I was blessed to actually be connected with Bobby, because Bobby and I just so happened to think in a very similar sense. He was speaking my language. So I would encourage you to take on everything that he passes on. Bobby, I think you've been a great help, especially in the early days. Listening to those speakers, read books, just develop a habit of reading like 30 minutes a day. Something to do with what you're doing. Sales, the psychology of selling, how to influence people. Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill is great. I have a ton of books here. Good to Great by Jim Collins. I'm looking at them. You Were Born Rich by Bob Proctor. How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. All of these books at some point altered my brain in such a way that it's actually helped me to attract the right people now onto my team, and to keep them motivated, to keep them encouraged, and to keep the whole thing going and growing. So I could talk forever. Does anyone have any questions? Because obviously you guys are at the beginning of this. I'm only 4 years in, but there's a big gap between there and here. So I'm more than happy to answer any questions if we have time for that.
Hey JP, it's Joey. So when you started out, was it like, did you ever get that point where you're like, man, this is pretty tough here for a bit? Did you ever get that like shade where you're like, dang, am I really gonna actually pull through? Am I really gonna actually get this achievement of actually selling policies and being number one?
Absolutely. That's a great question. That hit me so many times. You have no idea. There were days where it hit so hard I didn't even want to get out of bed. That's how bad it was. There was one day in particular where we were very blessed to have one of Farmer's top life agents. His name is Jack Jameson. He's now a district manager in Colorado. Amazing, inspirational fella. Definitely worth kind of hitting up on Facebook and just hearing what he has to say about life insurance. There was a day where I had tried cold calling, I had tried door knocking. It was all just going horribly. Bobby was calling me, being like, "Where are your numbers?" And I'm there driving for Lyft. I'm like, "Sorry, man, I got to make rent. It was tough." There was a day I didn't want to get out of bed, but Jack Jameson was talking down in San Diego. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to get myself out. I'm going to go to this. What he said completely just changed my attitude, because he was someone who was going through the exact same thing. And I think in the beginning, we need to hear that the ones who are succeeding didn't have it easy. There was nothing easy about where I am today. Yes, it has gotten so much easier in the last 2-3 years, but that first year and a half, it was not easy. There were days where it was challenging, but like anything in life, I don't know if you're a fan of working out or learning a musical instrument or just learning a language, something. The beginning is always the hardest. If you guys are parents and you have kids, you know that the first 3 years of life for that kid are just, you feel like you're losing sanity. And I can say that because I have an 9-month-old, and I'm pretty sure I lost my sanity about 2 weeks ago. But you know that it's very, very challenging at the start. But if you are patient and if you keep just working at it and grinding, it is not always going to be that hard. And what you'll find is that on the other end of that, 18, 24, maybe 36 months later, you have something beautiful that's going, and you have more time. You have a better income. You have a better outlook on life because you stayed persistent. You kept pushing through all the challenges. And through those difficult moments, when you push through, that's when you really, really grow. So absolutely, very difficult days, but it got so much easier.
Thank you, JP.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure some of you guys may have a few more questions. Go ahead, Angela. Do you have?
No, I was going to ask, where's your office located?
Carlsbad.
Carlsbad. Oh.
Mm-hmm.
So JP, and again, thank you for making time, brother. I know you've got a busy day. Can you kind of describe? I know you shared a little bit of your success, and I've already kind of teed them up on that. So how does your agency look right now as far as staff, you know, as far as your team JP, and then what is your goals? You know, we're moving forward as far as what do you see yourself in the next couple years based on, I know you've got some pretty aggressive goals, and because that's part of all of this is setting goals, and then kind of tie back, if you could circle back in the beginning, how did you set some of the goals that you did achieve, and then how were, you know, because now rewind to these guys getting started, you know, what would you be your recommendation for them as far as setting some realistic goals wherever they are to get them launched and get them moving and catching some momentum, because we know how important momentum is, and nobody better than, you know that.
For sure. So first off, setting goals is absolutely of utmost importance to what you're going to do. If you're not setting goals, I strongly encourage you, start doing it today. Whatever that goal is, if you're not fully licensed, if you need to get your life and health license, set the goal to get it done within a month. Just do it, because if you don't, you're going to float, right? It's kind of like an uncaptained ship. It's going to float around, drift around. You're not actually going to get to where you need to go. Currently where we're at right now, so I have a CSSR, so customer service sales representative. He just started part-time in February. I gave him a goal to hit, and if he hit it within that length of time, he would get promoted straight away to full-time. His goal was to get 20 PNC and 2 life in his first quarter. He started in February. He hit that goal 2 weeks ago. I gave him the goal with his PNC and his life and health licensing. He got his PNC done in 6 weeks, and he's now about to take his life and health on Monday. When you set goals for yourself, what you're doing is you're training yourself to basically apply that to your team members. Once you're able to set goals for them, that's when the magic starts to happen, because they need that direction. And when they have those targets, that's when you're really going to see growth in the agency. So I've got him. I've got a customer service rep. She works part-time in the afternoons. And then I have 2 independent sales agents. They don't need to be in the office, but they do have to hit production goals. If they don't hit it, they're gone. So that's all they have to do. They don't do any servicing, nothing, just sales. Our goal this year is a pretty steep one. I know it's a challenge, but I'm very much set on making President's Council this year. I haven't been afraid to tell people, and I think there's a bit of magic in that. When you have a goal, you write it down, you break it down into quarterly targets, whatever it needs to hit that annual goal, and then speak it. I know there's sort of mixed opinions of this. Some people say, oh, just keep your goals to yourself. But I had a meeting about 4 weeks ago. It was a commercial meeting. And I was asked to give my commercial goals for the year. And I kind of panicked because I had it in the back of my head, but I hadn't really written it down. But I was put on the spot in front of like 10 other agents and 4 members of the district office. And I just blurted out, I said, okay, I'm going to hit 30 commercial policies and $300,000 new business commercial premium. And as I said it, it kind of like scared me a little. I was like, oh, geez, I've said this now. Now I actually have to do this. It's insane what it did to my brain in the last 2 to 3 weeks. I wrote more commercial policies in this last 2 weeks than I did in my first 3 years combined with farmers. Like it's done something to me. Now I have to show up with something. I cannot show up to these meetings empty-handed, because I'm the guy who said, oh, he's going to hit 30 and 300K. So when you speak your goal, it makes it more realistic. Other people hear that goal. You hear it. You hear yourself say it. I think what it does is it sort of programs the subconscious mind to really make an effort for it. Now you're going to start looking for all the signs and signals that are in your day-to-day life. And when you may have overlooked an interaction with someone, because now you've spoken that goal, your interaction with Mr. Smith down the road, now you might actually think, hey, by the way, John, do you own a business? Because I'm really good with commercial insurance. I might actually be able to help you. You may not have asked him that if you didn't set that goal, right? You might have just unconsciously had a conversation with him and never thought to ask him anything about his business. So it's things like that that really get us moving, I feel, from my experience. Just to kind of go back, when I first started, my goal always was to, in the very first 6 to 12 months, just write 10 policies every single week. It doesn't matter what kind. It doesn't matter if it's renters or life or commercial, whatever it is. Just get 10 policies in the book every week, 10 policies. Then when I got to that, I was like, all right, we've got a flow. We got momentum going. 10's pretty easy now. Let's shoot for 15 every single week, right? And so you're just you're increasing it bit by bit over time. You don't want to make a goal too out of reach, because that'll actually have a negative impact. It'll be so big that if you fall, you're just going to feel terrible because you're like, geez. And you might get halfway through the year and think, well, there's no way I'm hitting that. I suck at this. But if you make it somewhat out of reach, enough to stretch you, that is going to feel so good because you know you couldn't have done it unless you set the goal. And it'll also push you to then say, okay, I hit that. Now I'm going to shoot a little higher next time. That's my take on goals.
Fantastic, Mr. JP. That's like golden nuggets. That's and there is a mixed review about speaking it, but there is something about making declarations on your goal and making it public. There is enough research that shows that it just creates, there's two things. It's one, it can create some accountability, obviously, from declaring it to somebody else. But you got to be somewhat careful, and not in JP's case, but when you're sharing your goals with people, sometimes you can share it with people that are what we call haters. And if you share them with haters, then you're just making it more complicated. You're achieving your goal because they're going to consciously or subconsciously sort of sabotage you, even by little whispers like, "Do you really think you could do that? Really, Cherie? I mean, really? I mean, I don't know. I mean, you never really, right? Just by people saying those comments doesn't help you necessarily, or it could fuel you depending on how anchored you are in your goals and your purpose, right? That's again. So, but the most important thing is, as JP shared, is you've got to write them down. The key thing is writing them down, because there is the thing that everybody agrees on. As long as it's only a thought, it's just a dream, right? It's just a wish. As soon as you write it down, now you're one step closer to making it a reality. There aren't too many things that happen intentionally that are just in your head without writing them down first. You know what I mean? Typically, right? I mean, it can happen, but it's not usually the way it goes. So thought, word, deed is what I learned early in my career. Thought, you put it into word, and then a deed, it becomes an action. Okay, so fantastic stuff, JP. So here's what I want to do, JP, to let you get back on your day. Again, thank you for making time. This is the question I always ask and I think I've asked you this before when you joined our room. These guys are all, it's tough to rewind because I know that 4 years of your time, there's so much happened, right? It's like in a lifetime of people, it's like 10 years, right? I mean, as far as what you've compressed in there, and that's why you've got the massive results, where most people in life never achieve that much result in a business opportunity in such a short period of time. And again, congratulations on all your success. So what would be your one thing, if Theo, Cherie, Casey, Daniel, Joey, Angela, Vince was here earlier. I am recording this, so we'll have them hear that. Well, what's the one thing that if they left you today that you would want to leave with them, that would, if they did this, for sure you'd feel good, JP, based on your ability to not only coach and lead by example? What would be one thing? And I know there's a variety of things, but what would be one thing that you would leave in there that you would instill in their mind, body, and spirit that, hey, boom, here's one thing, run with this, and you cannot go wrong? What would that be for you from your perspective?
Well, actually, I think it's been mentioned by a few of you when you had your introduction, and I did want to bring light to this, and that is knowing your why. Why are you doing this? And I was very impressed to hear that some of you said, I want to do this to help people. If you keep that anchored at the bottom of your soul, no matter how hard this gets, that reason is going to drive you forward. What's my why? I want to help more people get the right protection. What's my why? I want to help educate people, make sure they understand what kind of policy they have. What's your why? I want to make sure that I don't have a client who goes through a claim and is out 50 grand because we didn't include the correct coverage, right? When you have that type of why, that is going to get you through the stressful days where a client is complaining about a $2 increase on their bill. It happens. It's going to get you through all the hard parts, and it's going to keep you motivated, and it's going to make you a better professional, and your service is going to be that much better to your clients because they'll feel that from you as they're talking to you. Wow, Cherie really cares about me. She's not just trying to sell a policy to me. She actually cares about how much protection we have. I'm going to go with her, even though Geico was $50 less a month. I'm going with her because she cares. That is what I would say. If you're to leave with anything, make sure your why is strong enough that it just pushes you every day.
Awesome, bro. You are a rock star inside and out. You were already a music rock star. You are now a insurance rock star and a business advisor rock star. And I know the district appreciates everything you do on a day-to-day basis. So I thank you so much, brother, for making time. I know let's everybody give, high fives. Congrats. Thank you, Mr. JP, for showing up and joining us for, in your busy day. Appreciate you, brother, sincerely.
Pleasure. Best of luck to everyone. It was a pleasure to meet you guys.
Thank you, JP. So another example, so many nuggets, right? There's no secret here on what it takes to succeed. Every one of you already know that because you've already, done something in your life prior to meeting us that, where you can look back and go, I did good there. I was successful there. Now we're on a different level of excitement, a different level of assumptiveness, a different level of urgency, right? It's a different level. And for some of you, it's going to take work to get to the right level of excitement, assumptive, and urgency to succeed here. You know what I mean? You have to understand what you've been doing in the past is not going to get you to where you want to go. If you want more, you got to do more and become more. Like, you can't expect to make 10 grand a month and you've never made 10 grand a month and be the same Joey Ortiz. You can't. You got to be a 10 grand a month Joey. And the 10 grand a month Joey is still being formed, right? You're becoming that, right? And that's the beauty of this journey that each of you are on. So it's, I commend each one of you, but I think it's great to hear from examples like him where 4 years ago, he was literally in your same situation, literally. Just like, I don't know if this thing, and now he's 30, he's had months of, again, I don't even want to say, but he told you he has over close to 3,000 policies. I told you every 1,000 policies equals a 10 grand of residual income. Do the math. When you're making more thousands a month and you're years old, you're doing pretty good, especially if you're 30. Right? So, and there aren't too many places you can go. And again, no background. Like last week, we heard from Richard. He had sales background. Okay, he had been making sales. He sold things. So that isn't okay. Okay, that's good. He's got some advantage. Completely different game selling insurance and what he was selling home improvement stuff. Completely different sport, right? But he was an athlete. JP, he shared with you. I thought he did a great job of sharing his story in the beginning, right? You guys got that, right? How great was that? His story of, truly being a musician, but finding his purpose, his why. So he got excited because he had a family to take care of. He had a wife. Now, if you don't have a family, it's okay, but you got to find your purpose on what it is that's going to get you motivated to do more than you did yesterday. Okay? Whatever you did yesterday, I don't care what you did, just admit it's not enough. Do more. Right? Just keep going. Now, with that, we have Andrew has joined us, who I'm honored to say that I've known for over 20 plus years. One of the most knowledgeable and successful. I shared with you story, but you might not be able to connect the pieces, but I've talked about Andrew. I've talked about Andrew in each one of your individual Zoom interviews. I talked about the ADM, the assistant district manager, who pretty much runs our day-to-day operations at our district level. And I shared with you Andrew Peach. Theo, I just talked to you last week about it. I said, write that name down, Peach, like the fruit. I've said that to each one of you because I know what I say to each one of you every time I talk to you the first time, right? Because we have that agenda that I go through. Well, he is here just to just share whatever he wants to share. But the key thing is I want you to understand how valuable. Now, if there is a time when you tell your story, you're going to have to tell your story in front of Andrew. Now, he has a heart of gold. He wants to help you. So the better, right? He's going to be hearing your story and hear you communicate because he understands excitement. He understands urgency. He understands assumptiveness. He not only understands it, he helped JP learn it. He helped Richard Newman learn it and apply it because Andrew is in charge of the district training program. Okay, he's the one that is got his hands, he's going to have his hands on each of you every day with the team that he's assembled on helping you achieve success. Okay, I'm just a small part of this thing. He is the integral piece of that is going to be your future success inside of Farmers. So to have him here for a few minutes is great. Initially, we're going to have another meeting, but you know, he's blocked off a half an hour here. But we normally are going to, we'll go as long as you need to go, Andrew. But thank you for making time. These are, you already know the names. He knows your names. He sees the list. He's outside of me. He's the next person that sees that list and looks at that list every week or a few times a week and asks me questions like, Cherie, okay, what's going on with Cherie? What's going on with Casey? What's going on with Joey? Joey, didn't we see Joey at the open house? What the hell? Is he still around? What the heck? What is he doing? Did he go move to Tahiti and come back? What's going on with Joey? Right? So I'm the person that explains to him to say, okay, Joey's back, man. He's ready to go for real. He said he's for real. And he's been plugging in each week. So Andrew knows each of your names, and he knows a little bit about your background and your story, but he's here to share. So thank you, Andrew, and thank you guys we're going a little bit longer today, but I think it's well worth it.
Well, Bobby, thanks for having me on the call. Hopefully you guys can all hear me. Can you hear me over there? Okay, great. You know what, listening to JP, it takes me back to starting with him, and it actually takes me back to my career. I worked on the Pacific Stock Exchange. I was an institutional trader. So I was not in, you could call it sales, but I just dealt with people that were trading large amounts of Microsoft. I traded about 500,000 shares of Microsoft a day. And I moved back to San Diego, and I never thought I'd want to get into insurance. Was trying to find a job and doing something else, pharmaceuticals or whatnot. But I'll tell you this, when I understood the opportunity and realized that, wait a second, I can build a business here that I can help anybody and everybody and make a lot of money at it, right? So help a lot of people, but make a lot of money, right? Because at the end of the day, who doesn't like to make money? Everybody want to make money on this call, right? I look at being able to make the incomes that JP talks about, to do nice things for my family, to invest in my community, to give to others. And that's what this business has allowed me to do. It's something that I love to do. But when I look at where every one of you are at, and I go back to 20 years ago where I was at, I ran with my hair on fire. I sense of urgency. And I still run with that sense of urgency. If you ask my wife or my kids, are like, dude, where's dad going? Can he not stop and sit down for like 5 minutes, right? I'm a little bit unique like that, but I will tell you that sense of urgency and the discipline to do the things that we don't want to do or that we're not comfortable doing to get ahead, right? JP referred to learning a musical instrument, going to work out. I hate doing squats. Who here works out, right? Anybody love doing squats? If you do, I'd love to meet you, because I've never met anybody that loves to do squats, right? But we know that if we learn the proper techniques, if we know we're going to do those things and we consistently work on those things, it's going to get us better as an athlete, right? I went to college to play sports, so I understand those things. But the biggest thing that, as JP was talking about, was setting goals. So I say sense of urgency in setting those goals. And JP and Bobby both hit on it about talking and publicizing those goals. I've always publicized my goals. I do publicize them to those people that are close to me, the people that are my cheerleaders. So that's, of course, my mom, my dad, my 2 brothers, and my wife, right? My biggest cheerleader is my wife. My biggest rock is my wife. So I promote those. I put my goals out to them. I still do it to this day. My wife thinks I'm funny when I'll go. She loves it now that in our house that after we got married and we bought a house, that we no longer share a bathroom mirror, right? I've got my side, she's got her side, because I write my goals on the bathroom mirror with the dry erase pen. And the first day I came in, when she saw this, she goes, "What's with the chicken scratch on the wall?" I said, "That ain't chicken scratch. That's our goals. That's where we're going to be in the next few years." And that first goal was, after we got married was buy a house. And we both were owned our own homes. And previous to this, and we were starting a family together. And so I'd draw a little house on the wall and on the mirror. And every day I'd say, we're buying a house. And we lived in Temecula. And I said, we're buying a house in North County. And she says, okay. 6 months later, we bought a house in North County, right? Why? Because I told her that. I shared that with who was intimate with us and who our cheerleaders were. And then I told myself every day, I got up and recited that goal to myself. I have goals that I recite to myself every morning, right? You know, to be the best possible person out there to everybody that I come across, and to be the best husband and father every day that I can be, right? Those are part of my goals, but I repeat them to myself when I get out of the shower. I look at myself. I was told this many, many years ago. I thought it was the craziest, most awkward thing to ever do. I don't need to recite my goals in front of myself. I've been a successful athlete. I've done well in my career. Why do I need to go and tell my goals to myself? I know them. But as JP says, and as Bobby's told you guys, it starts getting into that subconscious, and that's where you start thinking that way. So if you don't have people to share your goals with, share them with Bobby. Give me a call. Most of you might already have my phone number, right? Share those goals with us, because I want to help you get to there. That's what my job is around here as the assistant district manager or running the district. My goal is to help you guys become one of the most successful agency owners and humanly possible, and farmers. I didn't say agent. I said agency owner, right? Because I want to see you guys have, like JP, 3 or 4 staff, duplicating yourself over and over and over to make that $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a month, because it is real. This business, I have never seen a business like this before, that I can go write Joey's auto insurance, and 15 years later, Joey's still one of my clients, and I'm still getting paid. Every time Joey's writing that check to his auto insurance company, I'm his agent, I'm still getting paid, right? How beautiful is that? Some of you might have sold cars or phones here on the call. You know, if you were selling cell phones in the mall, let's say that's where you're coming from, and you were told by your boss that every cell phone you sold, every month they pay a bill, you're going to get $1. Would you be on this call? No, you wouldn't. You'd go out and sell thousands of phones every month. Because think of that. You sold 1,000 phones this month. Next month, you're going to get $1,000 of residual income. You're going to sell another $1,000 worth of phones. It's the same concept. The beautiful thing is that's what the insurance world's all about. So I'm going to tell everybody here, I don't care where you're at in the licensing process today. Joey, you and I have seen each other around. Joey, I don't see your face here. We're going to have a chat about that, but that's, we'll talk. But I'm going to say, get a sense of urgency, right? Get a sense of urgency. Get through that little struggle of pain right now, because that's the ticket to entry in this business, is getting that license. That's the foundation that I can sit down with you along with the other staff and teach you this beautiful business of insurance, a product that everybody legally needs to have, right? And there's too many people that are out there that think insurance is, oh, I just need to pay $40 a month to get DMV off my back, or, you know what, I bought a home and the bank's telling me that I need to have insurance, or the landlord, I don't know why they want me to have a renter's policy, you know, but we all need it. And it's not about just having insurance. It's about being properly insured. So when you realize that, and you realize that everybody in the city of San Diego, the county of San Diego, that 3.3, 3.5 million people are prospects to you, this business is amazing, right? And the last thing I'll tell you about that I like about the business is I get to pick and choose who my clients are. I have a sports background. Went to college to play sports. I got a sports master's, sports marketing and master's of management degree at USF after I graduated. I thought I'd go into that type of a career, and I fell into insurance, like I said. But the original clients I started meeting with were like-minded individuals. Now, it took somebody to tell me that, because I was starting out. I didn't know this, but what I ended up doing is I realized that I was insuring people that either had common interests with me, or that they had businesses that were in the sports industry. And that's what made it beautiful, is I get to pick and choose who I want to work with. So I don't have to go in and if I'm not into off-road sports, which I'm in off-road sports, I don't need to go and try to market to that area and be fake. I can go and market to those areas that I know that I have a passion about. So if you're passionate about working with kids in schools and like that, well, we've got specific programs to go in and sponsor the teachers and help them out in their schools. What teacher do you know would not be willing for you to work with them and help them give you stuff in the classroom? Do you think that they might promote your business? Yep, they will. So again, I'm going to tell everybody on this call, if you have not set a test date and not, kind of fumbling through the exams, go set that test exam date for yourself. Give yourself a goal, like JP said. Don't just go through that testing material. Set yourself a goal. If you think, oh, I'm going to set it for April 30th, set it for April 15th. Give yourself a little sense of urgency, because once you realize you get through that, this is going to be one of the best things that you'll ever find out there. And I'm not just saying that. You can call my wife and ask her that. You could ask my kids, their daddy works for farmers, right? And it was funny when my daughter said that to somebody. They go, "Your dad's a farmer. Where does he grow his crops? What does he grow?" Like, no, dad's farmer's insurance. And, but again, I just ask you all to set your goals, like JP said, and realize that if you want to be somebody like where JP's at today, he started in the same spot, right? He came to us, Bobby, from Washington. I know he told the story. Just the guy set goals. He believes in himself. He believes in personal self-development, right? And he surrounds himself with people that are like-minded, right? So some of us might have to cut some people out, right? If I looked at anybody in my world and I said, I can't share my personal goals with them, they're this way, they're arm's reach from me. Arms reach. I might have to see him at holidays. I might have to see him at the neighborhood block party or whatever it is. But they aren't people that I surround myself with, because I want to surround myself with people that believe in me and believe in themselves. So, take this time. Let's get those licenses knocked out. And I look forward to working with each and every one of you to help you reach your dreams and goals in this business. So I know, Bobby, I don't want to take too much of your time because you guys have gone over. But again, get those goals to us. I know some of you have gotten them to Bobby. Get them over to Bobby so I can see them. And if you don't have somebody to share your goals with, well, guess what? I'll give you my phone number. I don't normally give this out to candidates, but Bobby, you can put it we'll put it in the text box. It's 760-585-6117. Give me a call. Share those goals with me. And let's make you one of the most successful farmers agency owners humanly possible. All right. So Bobby, I want to turn it back to you, and thanks for letting me share a few words.
Thank you, Andrew. None of these people even deserve your number yet, but it's okay. It's all right. But it's all right. But you got it now. So, but we know they're not going to do nothing with the number. What are they going to do with it? I already know. Let's see what happens. Let's see.
Awesome.
I want to be wrong on this one. I want to be wrong. There's at least two of you for sure that will take advantage of that phone number and get them your goals. Because basically he said, hey, send me your goals. I run the training program here. You want to be an agent? I'm the one that helped. Hey, come on. Right? That's what he's saying. So I would take him up on it, because 95% of people won't. So you can put yourself in what percentage you want to be in. The 5% of people that will take advantage of it are the ones that end up crushing things, right? So thank you, Andrew. And I want to so here's the call to action and let you guys get going with your day. I think there's two things. Your signature story, right? We're working on that. That's a daily thing. Theo and Daniel, that's new. Your signature story. Why, if you introduce yourself to somebody in the first 30 to 45 seconds, you have 7 seconds to keep their attention, like to be where, just every time someone starts talking, as soon as, right? Some of you, especially younger folks, I mean, you're scrolling through, right? You're scrolling through Instagram, scrolling through TikTok, you're scrolling through, and something catches your attention. Well, why does it attract you? Well, you've got to develop that skill for yourself when you meet people, right? And some of you already have some of that, some of you don't have it, some of you, but every one of us can get better at it. Okay, that's the key. We all can get better at it, right? So what's your signature story of when you share 30 to 45 seconds, what's in it for them, right? And you're excited, you're assumptive, and you're urgent. You're excited, you're assumptive, and urgent. So your assumption is that you're the best thing to happen to them, right? They couldn't have been a better human being that's going to take care of them and help them than you. So how are you going to communicate that to them? What are you going to say in 30 to 45 seconds where they'll be interested in wanting to get to know you more? Okay, makes sense. Okay, so your signature story, that was really a review for everybody else, but for Theo and Daniel, that's your signature story. You need to email me that story. What is it? You need to craft it up. You need to put it in a written format and write it and email me so we can start working on it together one-on-one. So when you come, you can get good at telling. It's the fundamentals, right? Daniel, you said you like squats, but if you like squats, but if you do squats the wrong way, could you get hurt? Daniel, can you get hurt if you do it wrong?
Yeah, you can. It's not funny, but yeah, you can.
Exactly, right? So just telling your story is not enough. Not doing squats is enough. You got to have the right form, the right technique. And then now it can do a tremendous thing to help you become stronger, right? So it's the same thing with telling your story, okay? Second thing, so we've got that. You're going to email me your story, and some of you have already been good at that. Second thing is what Andrew and Oshin talked about is goals. Every one of you need to email me what is your date of your your PNC license and your life and health license. What's those dates? You have your goal design worksheet, so you just got to look at that and you need to update that, right? Some of you didn't pass the first time, you're taking second time. Some of you taking it for your first time. Theo and Daniel, you're just getting started with the course material. So when are you going to get that done? Okay. What's the goal? What's that goal? Put that mark. When is that goal out there? Okay. And set that goal. You don't have to share it with us today. Put it in writing and send it to me. Okay. And I'll make sure Andrew gets it too. All right. So those are your call to actions for this week. Today is Wednesday. Make sure that you get them to them ASAP. Okay. All right, guys. So any last questions? We got to get going. I got to jump on another Zoom myself. So I apologize. I got to get out of here. But you guys make it a great day. Okay. You guys did great today. Great stuff. It was great. Awesome. Thank you, Andrew, for being here.
Okay. Are we emailing our stories to you or to Andrew?
You can email them to whoever you want to.
Okay.
If you email them to me, Andrew will get them for sure.
Okay.
But if you want to email them to Andrew, I will definitely
emails.
let me know that he got them for sure too. So,
okay. So that's a story. I'm sorry, that's a story, and it's an email to story and goals, right? Correct. Oh, I wanted to ask you about the health and life. Does that automatically follow the PNC with us, or do we?
Exactly. As soon as you pass your PNC is when you're going to start your life and health. Right?
Okay.
Remember the 7 steps, that form that you have? It's all in there, right?
Okay.
The next step. Absolutely.
I just want to make sure.
Okay. Awesome, guys. Well, hey, make it a great day. Give your very best because you deserve it. All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Nice to meet you guys.
All right, Bobby. Bye, Andrew.
Bye.
Take care.